Welcome to the CEO Stylist podcast, where two unlikely CEOs come together and rewrite the narrative of what it means to be a CEO stylist. Yovanka and Kirsten Harris are on a mission, giving stylists permission to join the movement of artists breaking the mold of what is meant to be for the hair industry and creating the life and schedule of their dreams. Fast forward through many failed attempts and lessons learned in the process, it's time to level up the playing field. It's time to call BS on what's been done before. Yovanka and Kirsten are ready to share it all, defying the odds of the industry and teaching you how to do the same.
Well, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the CEO Stylist. And today we have a guest with us, James Henderson.
Hey, friends.
Hey.
Welcome.
I'm good, thank you.
This is very up close and personal.
Nice. It's nice and intimate today.
So intimate.
We're here to talk about mindset
Mindset for salon owners.
for salon owners. And James has an amazing story, but we want to kick it off. We're going to get straight into it, right? Because I know this is going to be a long chat fest. Let's kick it off with tell the world who you are.
Okay, beautiful.
And why you're here.
Okay, awesome.
Meaning on this earth.
Here on this earth or here today?
The whole holistic story.
I was 18. I finished school and I wasn't really like 100% sure of what I wanted to do. Well, I actually thought that I wanted to go to uni and do acting because I loved drama at school and I was really good at it. And, you know, I liked making people feel something and laugh and enjoy and experience. So like I left school and I like did go to uni for a little bit, but it wasn't for me. Like I think back then I didn't have the commitment to push through the discomfort of not actually enjoying what I was doing there because it felt like overwhelming.
Yeah.
But so like I worked for a little bit and I met this girl and we became really good friends and she was like, I'm going to be doing hairdressing at TAFE next year doing the pre-vod course. And I was like, oh, well, I'll do it too because like I wanted a career path, but I just wasn't 100% sure.
Which way?
So you thought you'd do it for shits and giggles? And
I was like, oh, I'll just do
like
it
one of
and
those
see
things,
how
I'll
it
come along.
goes and, you know, like...
See what happens.
Yeah. So like what happened though was like we stopped working together and we stopped seeing each other, but I'd already enrolled in doing the course. So on that first day that I went there, I was thinking, oh, I don't know if she's going to be there. And I rocked up and she wasn't there.
She ditched you.
Yeah, she ditched me.
It was the universe. It was the universe pulling you there for a reason.
Thing though. Yeah, it was a good thing that we probably went there together, to be honest, because like, you know, she was a bit like scattered.
Hairdresser being scattered. Don't be silly.
Yeah, but I started there and like a lot of the other people there were like a bit younger than me. So like they were still at school, 15, 16, 17, but I was like 18 and I think I was more committed. I really wanted to make something of it as I got into it and started learning like...
And then you loved it straight away.
I loved it straight away because like I got along really well with the teacher and like I loved learning and I realised
and you're not
I was
bad
really
at doing
good
I was
at
going
it.
to say, and you're not bad at doing hair.
Yeah, I realised I was really, really good at it as well. And like when the clients would come in to do like the practices on, I was really good at
So you just picked it up
them.
really quickly.
Yeah, it was easy to pick up. And then from there we had to go help out at a hair show at the Hilton.
Oh God, I remember them.
Yeah, they'd asked all of the like TAFE students to go and help out.
Did you ever go to them?
Where?
A hair show at Hilton?
No,
you went around.
It was really cool. Like I was only 18. Like I was thinking, oh my God, this is so cool. Like I get to go to this hair show. I get to help out. And all we had to do was put the numbers on the models to go and make sure the numbers were straight. But I was thinking like, this is like really cool because you get to see an insight as to what it's like. And that's where I actually met my first boss, Marie Waldeck, who owned Marion Hair and Beauty.
Oh, wow.
And,
so you...
Oh, they poached
You went
when
straight there.
Well, she like seen me.
Did you have a job at that point? Or
No.
could you
I was
start your
just-
apprenticeship with
Yeah,
that?
I was just studying.
That was like giving you a couple of like credits, right?
Yeah.
If you do your apprenticeship, I think you get like 2 credits or something.
Yeah. It was like an introduction. So they teach you how to like blow dry.
So when you actually go to trade
colour.
school, you don't have to do those initial first
Yeah.
courses, but you
Didn't
still
even
have
know
to.
It
that
was
was a
called
thing.
like
Yeah,
a
they do it.
pre-vocational course.
They still do
Right.
it now, but through high school.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So like the cert, what they call Cert 2 now.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So like Marie seen me there, and she came up to me and she was like, "Oh, would you like to come to the salon and do some work experience?" And I was thinking, this is so cool. Like, I can't believe she's approaching me and asking me to come and work at the salon. And I was like, yeah, of course. I'll definitely do it, because like that's the direction I wanted to take. So I started working there like on a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday.
And just to give our listeners a context, like
Yeah.
Marion Hair and Beauty Salon was massive.
Oh, it was
Like
huge.
it was huge.
Because
It
it
was
was like a Westfield
It was
shopping
like Westfield
centre.
Shopping
Yeah.
Centre, 2 stories.
Yeah.
How many
there
staff?
was like almost 40 staff
That's
there.
insane.
40
She had
staff?
40 staff,
Yeah. So like, you know,
Wow.
I was probably back then a little bit more maybe like shyer, a bit like, but I was
You were a
like,
kid.
yeah. So I walked into this place and it was like hair on steroids. There was like all these people, all these
Everywhere.
clients, but I actually like
Wow.
enjoyed it.
And how many
It
apprentices
thrived.
did they have? They
Probably
had a
like
whole-
35.
I
No.
think there was like about 10 apprentices sometimes. Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes there'd be
Okay.
like 10 apprentices, 5 juniors.
But she obviously
You know,
knew how to run a business well.
Yeah,
like,
she was
that's
really good. And by that point, she'd probably had it for like about 10 years. So it was like very like up and
Established.
Yeah.
And do you know what's funny? Can I just
Wow.
interject here? Like, you know, I've known of you for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And everywhere I've worked, pretty much every single business owner was always wanting to poach James.
Oh, really?
Like, I think they were always, because you really were, like, you were a phenomenal, even back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
You were just an amazing hairdresser.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I always like wanted to do well. I always had like a lot of self-pride. I always wanted to deliver the clients what they wanted, listen, get to know them, understand them as people,
Make
and
them
you
feel
know,
good.
yeah, and like make something of my life.
And can
you
I
know,
ask
and
back
career.
then, how many hours were you doing as an apprentice?
no one counted.
God, it was probably like we had our set hours, but you'd always finish
You'd
late.
always
It would
finish,
be
yeah.
like
So even back then, I'm just
probably between
curious.
The
45
time
or
pressure of being in a
50.
shopping centre though, as well, because it's
7
not like you
days.
can sit there until midnight.
Oh yeah, well on
I
a
think they
Thursday
could. I
we'd
think they still finish
sometimes on a
late.
Thursday we'd finish at like 10:30.
Oh really?
Yeah, because
Shopping
if our
centres
last
closed?
client like was meant to finish at 9, it might be 9:30.
God, can you imagine
But
now?
then like we had to like you were not leaving till the salon was spick and clean.
That's right.
The next
Yeah.
day, if that
And you can't
mirror
call
was
in
dirty,
sick the next day.
No. If that mirror was dirty the next day, like the
You'd
manager would pull you up and be like, "Look at the mirror."
Yeah.
There would be a
You'd still
list
have
in
to
the
be-
back room of everything that was wrong with the cleaning. And I
How
was
many
like,
clients were they serving?
overwhelming to be honest.
Oh my God, can you
It's how it
imagine
was,
like
though.
yeah.
because it's a 7-day-a-week business
Yeah.
back then. How many clients a day would they have been serving on average?
Oh, she was
Oh,
turning.
there was heaps. Like
I
she
think
was,
8 to 10.
No.
No, per
per
stylist.
stylist.
Sorry,
yeah,
I'm saying
yeah,
per
because
stylist.
it would be back to back. It
Yeah.
would be like you'd
Hang
have
on, back to
foils,
back
frills,
or
like and
also
cramped
juggling
in.
2
You'd have
clients?
2 or 3 at once.
Yeah, on the go.
But all of the really good seniors that were like very booked out, you would have like a junior that helped you every day.
Yeah.
So
That's
we would
true.
get
So
like
you're
an
in pod.
allocated junior.
Yeah.
And it was really good because if it was like someone that was motivated, you would like teach them your way. They would get to know your client. So then the client also built trust with the junior and knew that they were going to do it the way that I did it. Well, that's the way I worked with my juniors because I like was very particular with
How they
how
did
my
things.
clients have
Yep.
their hair done. So I wanted them to receive
What
the
you were
same
doing,
treatment that I would
sure.
give them, which I think helped me and also helped the junior to build up their confidence in what they're doing too.
How long were you there for?
I was there for 11
You
years.
stayed there for a long time.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I did my apprenticeship there, and that was like 4 years. Well, I actually worked there for 2 years without being like a signed on apprentice because I was enjoying it. But then it was getting to the point where it was like, well, I actually want to do an apprentice, and there was always a way because there was always someone ahead of you waiting to be signed on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So then, like, I'd gotten offered a job somewhere else. And then when I told her that, she said she'll sign me on. So I got signed on.
You
so it was
passed your probation after 2
yeah,
years.
yeah. I know, and it was like conflicting at the
commitment,
time because it
course.
was like, I want to be here because I love the clients, I love the people.
But how
But I
amazing that you were
also
willing
wanna-
to give up 2 years without, because most people would, even nowadays, they just want to finish up here straight away
Yeah.
without pulling in the time, but you were still willing to have that 2 years without being signed
Well,
on.
throughout that 2 years, we were taught, like, you were working like you're a second-year apprentice anyway. Like,
So
you
you
were
were doing
blow
blow
drying,
dries,
you were, like,
everything on the
applying
floor.
colours, doing toners, like, and you weren't even an apprentice. But,
crazy.
yeah, like, you learnt so much. Like, it
course.
was a good thing.
It built grit.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
when she signed you on, I assume the rules were the same. You would have had like a salary reduction then because you would have gone on like an apprentice wage.
Yeah, well, she didn't
would
pay
be-
as much as a junior, to be honest. Like, it was,
Wow.
probably a bit like...
Okay,
And then-
you
and
just
then-
worked because you loved it. You needed to
Yeah, I
love
worked
it.
because I loved it. But, you know, I was juggling like 2 jobs. Like, I was doing the tape, I was doing the hairdressing, I was working at AMF at night. And at that stage, well, you know, in my first year of the apprenticeship, I started like helping my sisters with her babies as well, because she got pregnant and then we moved out and started living together. And I was like juggling everything, but I was like determined to make this happen because
Yeah.
I was like,
And you did it.
yeah, I was like, the drive for me in the beginning, it makes me feel emotional thinking about this.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah, the
You
drive for
can
me
see.
at the beginning was like, I need to make enough money to be able to like make sure these kids have a home to live in as well.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's
course.
amazing.
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense.
I think
Yeah,
you're going to
and
make me cry.
Yeah.
That was the
Wow.
drive though, you know, it got me through
There was
like
something
every
else
day.
underneath, of course.
Yeah, because
We're going to come back to that though because
Yeah.
that's so important when we're talking about mindset because that was your
100%.
shaping.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right there.
That was probably
And
my
you were
why
18,
back then.
like 18
Well,
to
by that
20.
stage I was 21.
But
Yeah. It was a lot, but I did it because I can do anything.
That's right.
Yeah,
And,
and
you really
know,
had when you have no choice.
Yeah.
Well, not
Wow.
no choice.
Yeah, I
but
had
you were,
chose to
You
do-
just picked a goal and you were
Yeah.
committed to making it
Yeah.
happen. And then from
That's
there,
amazing.
Yeah,
that really
and
is
she was only
amazing.
17 at the time.
Oh,
and then
so
fell
your baby
pregnant again at
sister.
18.
oh, wow.
So she had 2 children under 20.
Yeah. She was like 19 when she had the second one.
Crazy.
And I was like,
And you were the income earner.
yeah, well, we went 50-50 in everything to do with the house, the bills, the food and everything. But, you know, like, I wanted to do that to help her, to help
Yeah.
the kids because I loved them so much. And that was, like, my reason why I would, like, work hard, make something of it because...
You
when
had
you're in that
that,
situation and you want to be a great support, you
Yeah.
do what you can.
Yeah.
You do anything.
And a role model.
Yeah, definitely. So from there, you know, I was at a point there where I was like helping manage the salon.
Yeah. You'd
You
hit
know.
what I call the glass ceiling.
Yeah,
You go,
yeah, and I was
"What's-
doing
what's
really
next?"
well, like heaps of clients, like everything was flowing
your peak.
beautifully. But for me, it was like
There's something
I
else.
was feeling like it was time for me to move on from there because I wasn't getting the fulfillment anymore.
11 years is a really good innings, though, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. And Marie had left, like, when I hit the 10-year mark, Marie
She
had
sold
sold
it.
it to someone else. So I guess that was the
That was
catalyst
your-
for a lot of change
Yeah.
within that business too. So then from there, actually, one of my friends started working at another salon called Boss Babes, which, you know, was owned by Shay. And then... she was like, oh, come and work here. Like, it's new, you know, it's growing. We need staff here. And I was kind of like, oh, I'm not sure.
And Shay, at that point, she was an extension specialist
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. She only did extensions. So she didn't do, like, the colouring or the cutting, but she specialised in extensions. So really, like, she needed hairdressers there to be able to give her hair extension clients, like, colours, cuts, everything.
The total package.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, I was
It's
really...
a good spot.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful, and like the salon
Amazing
was
stuff.
beautiful. Like it was big and open. It had big glass windows, and to go from Marion to that, I felt like I'd like made
Whole
this.
other world.
Yeah,
It's like I
yeah,
could see
it
the
felt,
daylight.
yeah, and it was so beautiful there. It was like more in alignment with the direction I felt like I was heading in.
For sure.
So yeah, I was really nervous to make the change, but I thought like, nah, I'm gonna do it. This is the time.
And did your clients follow you?
Within like 2 hours, I had 70
Yeah, I can
clients booked
imagine.
in.
How many?
70. Yeah.
70.
As soon as I posted that I was leaving, I was message.
course.
And
'Cause you
was,
would've-
was,
And I
fa-
was,
was
like, booked
Instagram a
out.
thing then?
No, it was more like
Facebook.
Yeah, they were all messaging me on
my
Messenger.
God.
And that was the thing I was the most nervous about was like, are people going to come?
People gonna
Because
love
I'd
me.
never left
Yeah.
somewhere.
Of course.
I'd
And now
always
you look
been
back
there.
respectfully, like you look back and you're like, you know, you would build a clientele anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but at that point, and it's almost like, Yeah, because you would have built a massive clientele over.
Yeah,
Of
it
course,
was
they would have
huge.
found you.
Yeah.
They would
I
have
think
hunted
back
you
then,
down.
though, I probably had like more self-doubt in me.
Of course.
You know, whereas now, like, I've shifted a lot of that self-doubt mindset and gone, you know, actually, like, of course they're going to follow me.
Correct.
But back then, it was a bit more nerve-wracking.
You've never left
Yeah, I'd
somewhere.
never left somewhere
Yeah.
and started again. Then this is when, like, everything kind of changed for me because I, you know, like, that was a place where there was people renting rooms.
Oh, yeah.
So they
That's
had,
right.
like,
Yeah.
the
Beauty.
beauty.
She had a good concept
Yeah,
there
it was
of
great.
having like beauty and hair and
Yeah.
the whole thing.
And that's what inspired me, though, to go out on my own because I was like, well, if all of these people can do it, and they were all a lot younger than me, and it inspired me to want to do that for myself.
Can I ask? I think she was the first one. Was she the first one
What's
in
that?
Adelaide to have that concept of
think
having?
I think
she
so.
was. To give her
Yeah.
cure, I think she was the
Yeah.
first.
I
first
mean,
one.
You
she-
flipped to a rent-a-chair in under her roof.
Yeah.
Which, in hindsight, you probably should have done that from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Because that was your essentially your
clientele.
business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
By the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
And that's
Okay,
what
that was
inspired
good.
you to do your own. Oh, makes
yes,
sense.
yeah. So I was like, you know, I rented a chair there for about 6 months, and then I had like some personal things go on, and I needed a break.
Yeah.
But while I was at Boss Babes, I met Hayley, who owns Medicine of Cosmetics.
Yeah, she's
And
good. I've
she-
been to her.
And she was
She's
opening
great.
up her Glenelg clinic, and there was like a space at the back there that she actually renovated for me to do hair. So I had a little bit of a break, and then
You
I
went.
went and like subleased from her clinic, and I was there for 2 years. And that gave me like an amazing
opportunity to save as well.
to save, to then be able to create clarity. Because I was always like, I want my dream salon, you know, and I want it to be exactly how I want it to be.
So you
And I
had the
a big-
vision of clarity from day one. You knew exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, I would say like when I started working out of Medicine of Cosmetics, I like knew that one day I would be opening Clarity, but I didn't know when it would be. But I wrote out like what I wanted it to be. I like
Wow.
pictured in my head what I wanted it to look
Manifested
like.
it.
Yeah, I wanted big open windows. I wanted separate spaces. I wanted lots of light. I wanted upstairs, downstairs, and I wanted it to be a space that I could grow into, and I wanted it to be in that area.
You nailed it.
You got
Yeah, and I
nailed
was
it.
I
You
nailed
look back
it.
and you're
You
like,
nailed
every
it.
detail.
Yeah,
You
100%.
got.
Now let's talk Clarity.
Yes.
That beautiful salon on Brighton Road.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Clarity is like the dream salon that I created, and I've had that now for 2.5 years. So
Is that all? Wow.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like
it's
it's
been-
longer.
it's pretty new.
So did you move in on your own?
I moved in like with my sister who
Okay.
works for me, Chelsea.
Yeah.
She's
So your
amazing.
sister became a hairdresser.
Yeah, she started working with me at Boss Babes.
Yeah.
And then when I left, she left and went somewhere else. And then when I was at Medicine for Cosmetics, we came back
Together.
together. So yeah, we worked in there together. And yeah, for the first year, it was just us two doing it because I was, I guess, still navigating and getting used to it. And I had a few beauty girls like renting upstairs. And then from there, in the second year, I was like,
I want more.
yeah, I want more. Like, I want to grow
What's
the
next?
team. I
Yeah.
want to. I guess like I was probably inspired by Marion and inspired by Boss Babes, and thinking, you know, well, I want a team. Like, what
New
can
level,
I?
new devil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's when I really had to like kick the mindset in and start actually like really focusing on other goals as to what I wanted to create with my business.
And you manifested more people. They came to
Yeah,
you.
yeah, they did. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it actually happened like really
Fast.
easily, to be honest.
So how many
Yeah.
how many team members do you have?
So now I've got one lady who rents a chair, then I've got Chelsea, Paige, and I've got a junior called Sophia, and then there's like a makeup artist there as well.
Amazing.
So I'm still growing the hair team because it's only like 2.5
2
years
years, yeah.
in. But yeah, I managed to grow that in the last year, which was really fantastic.
And then what did you do this year, James?
Yeah, well,
Talking about
well,
growing things.
throughout that time period, I'd always been thinking, well, it would be cool to have like multiple salons because, like,
So cool.
I guess my goal was to be able to always create like a space where hairdressers can like, you know, be in a comfortable environment, be free to be themselves, not have like
Drama.
drama or like a real nitty gritty like control freak boss. And then I was like, you know, if I could do that at other places as well, that would be cool. And also ways to create multiple streams of income too, because, you know, I've got other goals that I want to achieve in my life as well. And that's when last year it came about purchasing another salon called Bode, which has been established for like 13 years now, I think.
Well-known
So
salon.
when that opportunity came about, I was like, oh, well, there's my answer to what I had been
And
putting
Bode
out
is,
there.
do you want to say where Bode is?
Yeah, Bode's in Parkside on Glen Osmond Road.
It's a beautiful
Bougie.
salon.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really nice there. Like, it's really big and open, lots of natural light. There's like lots of potential for growth there. There's lots of chairs. So
And
So
you're
the
keeping the
spot.
brand as is.
yeah,
So
I'm going to
there's
keep the brand as
separation.
Bode.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
it's like Clarity and then there's Bode as well. So
Yeah,
they're two
two
separate
separate.
businesses. So yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
well
you.
done, James.
Thank you. Yeah, I was determined to like make it happen. And even when the adversity comes up or the moments of fear, it's like, you've got to push through it and go, this is what I wanted, this is what I wanted to do, and think really positively about it, and then it will start being created into what you want it to be.
Of course. And I
Yeah.
think, what I love about your story, it's almost like correct me if I'm wrong, but when you've come from old school, challenges, it's almost like that that's a part of the growth
Yeah,
process. Like you
definitely.
can't have that, or you can't have the reward without having
The pain.
the pain,
Yeah,
right? It's a
100%,
process. I mean, you don't
yeah.
want it forever, but it's just how do you navigate it? And I think that's why it's important once you go into the mindset,
Yeah.
how you actually can see the big picture
100%.
and not get caught up on all the little things that are not working.
So we're talking about mindset. Why do you believe having the right mindset is crucial for salon owners? What makes it so vital for personality?
I think having the right mindset is going to create your business into what you want it to be.
Set you up for success.
Yeah, 100%.
Or whatever, what do you define is success? Because everyone defines it.
I think success is different for everyone because it's like what you value in your life is what you define as successful. Like some people want to have a family, and for them, when they create their family, they're
That's
like,
for them, it's true.
I'm successful because I've created that of what I wanted. Or some people want like this dream job, and when they get the dream job, they feel successful.
Yeah.
Or if you've got like a business goal, you're like, when you hit your goal, you feel like
Accomplished.
you feel accomplished. So I don't think success is defined just in like the material aspects of life, because really I think true success is when like you feel
At
content
peace
and
and
joy
content.
and love within yourself.
Yeah.
For me, I think that is like the truest definition of
agree.
success for me personally.
And can we go
Yeah.
back to like the story you shared without going back into your childhood in
Yeah.
any deep way?
Yeah.
Can I just ask this question? Did that come from a bad experience that you went, I need to, like, your sister is relying on you
Yeah.
and you just needed to pull together?
Yeah. I felt let down,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, I don't ever want to like let my own children
Yeah,
down.
and that's
with
why
There
you
you
probably
go.
had to be
children.
so independent.
Yeah, and like I don't ever want to let like my sister's kids down that
Yeah.
like needed me in that time,
Because the biggest
Yeah.
void of what you
Yeah.
miss out as a kid becomes your highest value.
100%, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's why I became so much of like the helper, because like I wanted to help everyone else, because I felt like when I was a child I didn't get.
Do you
what
feel
I
like you were overcompensating
Oh,
on some level?
100%. Like
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
started delving deep into like all the mindset stuff,
You're like, I
it
need
started
to set some
all
boundaries.
unraveling as to like
Yeah.
why I became the helper and why I started helping
Why
all my
you became
family.
a hairdresser? Because you're
Because-
actually helping people still.
Yeah, exactly. Because I like have worked in depth with like a mindset coach as well, which
Right.
is phenomenal. And when we started going deep into the subconscious, like the reason I started like helping my sisters and all my family
all
was
comes
when
from
my
that.
parents divorced, I became the father.
You became
Which my father was still in our life, but I stepped up into that role thinking, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. Yeah, so that was like, I guess, my coping mechanism too. And the belief that I formed around everything.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
And
'cause
you
Yeah.
can't rely on someone else, so
Yeah,
therefore
yeah.
you became super independent.
Yeah.
That's why that story, like at the beginning when you were sharing that, I went, okay, that's going to come up because
Yeah.
there's no now I know why you're driven,
Yeah,
and I can relate to that because I had a great childhood,
Yeah.
but there were plenty of times where my
Yeah.
family let me down, and I think that was that shaping where you go,
I've got to
I'm
take
not going to
control.
let anyone
100%. Yeah.
take control. And that's why I am a control. Like I acknowledge it, and it's a blessing and a curse now.
Yeah.
But it's why I'm not that trusting.
Yeah.
I'm a nice person, but I need to still be in control of
100%.
Situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it motivates you to do better.
So
Yeah,
on that note, can you just explain, because this is something I'm so passionate about as well, what is the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset?
Okay, so for me, I would say like a growth mindset is when like you're always open to learning. You're open to new opportunity. You're open to like endless potential, you know, like limitless. Because really everything is limitless.
You
It's
see
like we
things
can-
as an opportunity.
Yeah. Like when something comes about, you say
Infinite.
yes to it rather than going, oh no, I can't do that, or that's too hard, or I don't have the time. It's like, you can though, like be open with your mindset.
And you've spoken about, you know, there's times when you've been fearful, like I'm afraid to
Yeah.
do this, but you've still had an open mindset to be like, well, I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know, would you say instead, because there's so many people that listen with that, you know, fixed mindset where they'll make every excuses. It's a story that they tell themselves that will stop them from actually even taking the step. They were so scared of failure or so scared of, you know, and not working that they actually stop themselves from even
100%.
taking that opportunity. So even in the moments that you say like you were fearful, you were still willing to take that risk.
100%. Like
Yeah.
when I took over Bode last year, like I had, you know, a lot of anxiety go through my body, but I was like, in the moment that Alicia said to me, do you want to buy the salon?
You just
I had
clicked.
that intuitive knowing of, yes, this is the next
'Cause this
step.
is what
and
you
I
were
know this
asking
is what I
for.
meant to do, because that's
Yeah.
what I asked for. So even though I said to her on the phone, I'll give me a few days to think
Think
about
about
it.
You knew.
Within me, I was like 100%.
I already know.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, there was fear there, but you know, then I worked through it with my coach to get through that block, and then it was like, okay, well, yes, I'll do it.
Because exactly it
Yeah.
is. It's internal blockers.
Yeah. And sometimes you can't like see the things within yourself that are blocking you. And that's why I found for me like working with someone
Sure.
that can see it, because you know you can pick it up on language or the way someone's talking, or when situations arise. Sometimes I couldn't see it in myself. So working with someone else has helped
That's
me
why we
to do
always
it.
say that. What do we always say? You really are the 5 people who you hang around. It's so
Yeah.
important, isn't it?
100%,
Because
yeah.
how easy is it for someone in the shadow, or you listen to the wrong people or outside noise that are like, no, James, you suck.
Oh,
You don't do
yeah.
this. They're projecting their insecurity on
Yeah.
you. And how easy would it be for you to be like, oh, maybe I can't do it, or maybe I shouldn't do it.
100%. And that's sort of why, like, well, I did learn to like not always share everything you're going to do with everyone.
In your family?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my family's been very supportive.
Yeah.
Like, they never say anything negative about what I do. They
Yeah.
always like believe that I can
But
do it.
they're your greatest protectors, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
So sometimes my experience is sometimes they're the blockers because they
Yeah.
go, "Well, be
Some-
careful," or
Yeah.
"Should you do that?" But they come from a good place
Yeah,
when they
it's
say
because
it.
they love you and care for you, and
Yeah,
they don't want to
yeah.
see you like.
They don't want to see you fail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But really,
But I
yeah.
feel like it's also a little bit of their own fear.
It's coming
know?
from their
It's
own
coming
belief
from their own
as
fear.
well.
They lead with
though.
fear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Because they maybe didn't fulfill a dream they wanted to do, or they don't want
Different
to see.
generation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but and like a fixed mindset is like what you said. Like it's very like, you know, they make an excuse for everything. I can't do that. There's a
it's like a
reason
victim
why.
mindset.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
find those relationships challenging? Like, have you had them in your friendship circles? Have you had
Yeah,
them with
I've
your
had-
team members? Like, are you very, like, how do you navigate that? Do you try to work with it, or do you have a point where you're like, I need to bless and release? Like, do you feel like 5 years ago you would hold on to it a lot more than what you do now?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like back then, I would probably just keep going. You know, like I can help them. I can.
I remember you saying that
Yeah.
with even with clients, you're
Yeah.
like, because you end up being a chronic people pleaser,
Yeah.
where you end up overcompensating, and instead of setting the boundaries, you end up in a vicious cycle,
yeah, and
right?
then you think like, how can I help this person? But really, it's like, well, they're not coming to
They're
me
not coming.
asking.
And
for
would you
help,
get more
so
drained?
Why would I help?
You'd get more drained, and
Yeah.
you'd have you'd have nothing left for yourself.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
you're zapped.
Whereas now I can be like, you know, someone's telling me about their problems or what's going on. It's like, obviously I care for them and I want them to overcome it. And, you know, I want them to feel joyful. But, like, I'm not feeling like I need to fix them, or, like, what can I do to help
true.
them? Like, I'll just talk to them normal. Like, as if we're
Get
just
them-
having a
move
normal
them through it.
conversation. I won't start going, how can I fix this? What can I say to help them? It's like, you know, sometimes they just want to vent
Yeah.
and let it out, especially
just
if it's a
listen to 'em.
client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, just-
Yeah.
It's fine. I like it like that. Try it again.
So, on that note, this is a good question to ask. What would be your advice to give salon owners approach to challenges and conflicts in terms of their attitude and perspective?
I would
Especially
say
in
do it
business.
anyway. Just do it anyway, because like, what's the worst that can happen? Like,
Well, I feel like if you don't, you end up bottling.
Yeah,
bottle it up, and then
exactly.
you can end up exploding or not dealing with it.
100%. Like, my thing is, like, I don't want to be 80, 90 years old, like, laying in a hospital bed dying, thinking, like, I wish I took that opportunity.
Yeah, what did I do
You know,
with
you
my
don't want
life?
to look back on your life one day and wish that you'd, like, done more with it. And I think, like, with business owners, you know, why not take a new opportunity? Like, once you say yes to something, the door's open, you know. And that's something that I've learned over the years is, like, sometimes you might be trying to think, like, oh, well, how will that happen? Or how's that going to come
Not
about?
letting the stress get to you, because then it clouds
Yeah.
your emotional
Oh,
intelligence,
exactly.
doesn't it?
Do you have bad days when you're on the floor?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On
I
or
get
off?
stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, how do you
definitely.
manage that?
Oh, I get like energy healing done and stuff. Like I
Right.
work with my coach every week to help me with like my
It's a
stress
work
levels.
in progress. Yeah.
Yeah, and working on changing it, especially like when I guess big things come up. Like when I started like taking over Bode, like yeah, I did feel stressed about it because it was all new. And I think for me, sometimes like when something's new and I need to learn a lot, that's when like I
It's
get
a
more
higher
stressed.
you need a higher capacity.
Stressed.
Yeah.
But then like if I'm working with someone that can help me with the stress management and just have like little things that I can do on a daily basis, because it's personalized to everyone. Like everyone has their own, you know, someone might like going for a walk, going to the beach, doing breathing, seeing a therapist, like whatever is suited to the individual to help them with their stress levels, but being like aware of it in the moment.
Is the biggest
Because
thing.
sometimes like
Yeah.
you can go automatically into stress.
Yeah.
Like the thing will happen and then you'll go unconsciously
Immediate
you'll be
reaction.
in
Yeah.
stress. Because I've lived, you know, I lived on stress for a long time from childhood, you know.
Yeah.
It's not functioning anxiety.
Yeah,
I think it's
yes.
I think it's a form of addiction, though, isn't it? Some people are like, oh my god, I'm
100%.
so
Yeah, yeah.
stressed. I'm like,
And do you know, someone was
Yeah.
saying this, I think one of my partners in America, because she was working for a company that was like cult-like, and she
Yeah.
was like fight or flight.
Yeah, it's
And
that
even
mode.
now,
Yeah.
even now when she's in quiet mode, it's like, oh my God, I need something, because it's that conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's almost like you
exactly.
don't allow yourself to
It's
be
like a
calm. Yeah, it's like
dopamine hit.
you're so
yeah,
right.
yeah. Your body just becomes addicted to
Addicted
being
to
that
it. So
way.
it's
Yeah.
being aware of it, so you
Yeah.
can change that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then like because like your body's been like addicted to it for so long,
Yeah.
like you can easily go back into it.
Revert back to
So
Yeah.
you've
it.
got to really consciously work
like a
on
life-
change it, but you've got to want to change it too.
That's true.
do
you
you
can't-
feel like some people enjoy being in that?
Some people think that that's
I don't think
just
they
like a
realise
normal
that.
state of being
Yeah.
because they're so
Yeah.
used
'Cause they're
to
not aware
living
of
like
that.
that. You know, it's
Correct.
normal for them, and they
So it's
think
safety.
like
It's actually a safety place.
yeah, well, they think like, oh, like I have to be stressed to do well, or I have to be stressed to function at my highest capacity. But it's like
And it's
you
not,
don't
'cause
actually
everyone
have
around-
to be. But then again, that's the way they're thinking, so that's the way they're creating their life to be.
That's correct. It's their internal thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you're saying is they create it. That's their thoughts. They're putting it out there. So more of that will come.
oh,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
It's true,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
See,
internal-
I'm listening to you thinking, how do I handle stress? Because I don't
Yeah.
think I'm a stressed person.
Yeah.
I've definitely had some very stressful situations, but I like to think I'm calm, but I know my way of processing is I'm probably not one to talk about it. I think I need
Yeah.
to process my in alone time.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's normally after a sleep. Like
Yeah.
in the moment, I've figured out at my age to go, don't react.
Don't
in the
act
moment.
and in emotion.
Got to take a step back because
Yeah.
you always see things differently the following day.
And this
Yeah.
is why I say this is why we're so passionate about having the right people in your circle, because a couple of times when things have happened, I'll call her or Vlad. It's either her or Vlad that I speak to that
Yeah.
just help. Like even yesterday something happened and I called, she just calmed me,
Yeah.
helped me see perspective, and I was able to go into the situation
Yeah.
very neutral rather than being charged.
Yeah.
Because then when you're charged and you're stressed, you go, and then you don't even get the reaction that you
Yeah.
want. you get the opposite reaction because it's actually coming from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so
What do
it
they
can
say?
backfire.
High emotion, low
Low
intelligence.
Yeah,
in that.
yeah.
It's always easy though. Like it's
Yeah.
easy being on the outside and giving a different perspective.
Yeah.
We just
It's
process
true when
things.
you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When
That's
you're
why
in
you
it,
need.
though,
That's why.
hey, I can be a rager.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we can all have a short fuse.
Yeah.
But there's nothing gets resolved when,
No.
when you're in that. It doesn't matter who it's with, even with kids.
Yeah.
You know, I always say, I remember I used to say to my parents, I don't care if I'm 5 or 50, speak to me like a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll always get a better result.
Oh,
and you don't want to be taken
100%.
advantage of, but I feel people can actually be heard and be seen when you're actually approaching it in the right way.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Like if you're stressed out and you're like being reactive to everyone, of course you're
You're
probably
gonna get
going to
that
get
back.
like
It's the
a
law of the
negative
universe.
reaction. 100%.
Go on, can I just go flip back to your first boss? Because this was, what, in the 90s?
Yeah.
And, you know, let's call it, because it was old school style of hairdressing.
Yeah.
Was she, like, looking back, do you see her, was she a good leader? Was she
Yeah.
reactive?
No, she wasn't. I think she was a good leader.
She was a good
I
leader?
think like
With
she
40
was
staff?
very.
Can you imagine?
I think it
No,
also
I
depended
can't.
on like how you were to her as well.
Yeah.
Like if you like showed that you were like keen, dedicated, and committed, like she treated you really well. But if you were
Exactly.
like
If
a
you're
bit
a
of a
dick.
sloppy,
Yeah, that's what you got.
loser, like you're not gonna get much because it's like a two-way street, you know.
Yeah.
But she was always respectful and she'd
And you would
handle
say that
things
she handled-
respectfully.
yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
definitely. She was never like, I mean, she was very blunt.
Firm but fair.
Sure.
Yeah, blunt, direct, say what she's thinking, and sometimes like you could take it the wrong way. But like when you
I get
actually
that.
started to get to know her, you
She had
realize,
your best
yeah,
intentions.
it's
Yeah.
not meant to be rude, but people would take it the wrong way. They'd
But
be like,
even more
"Oh,"
so now, because I feel like I'm
Oh,
like that. I mean,
yeah.
you've known me like now, and I always say,
Yeah.
please don't take me the wrong way. I feel like I
Yeah.
have to say it.
I think
because
it's good though.
when you're firm but fair,
Yeah.
you know, especially nowadays, people can be a little bit more sensitive and you
Yeah.
have to say things, but it's almost like it's gone too, like we have to get
gone
that back
too
a little bit.
Yeah.
It's gone a little bit too far.
100%.
You know,
I don't
so-
think your old boss at Marion Hair and Beauty would have given two shits really about people's how to
No.
deal with different personalities.
No, she just
You
did it.
couldn't with 40 people,
No,
right?
no.
Even if you had 2 managers or 3 managers, that would be
100%.
near
Does she have someone help
different
her manage?
generation.
Yeah, it
She
was
did?
like
Oh,
me,
you?
Sean, and
Yeah.
Bree. We all helped
love
together.
Sean.
7-day a week
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I love
Yeah.
him.
But that's what I think I'm processing that going, you know, business is hard,
Yeah.
but what makes it difficult when you distill it all down, the actual craft is not the difficult part.
It's the people.
Oh, 100%.
And I love having a team, but I've worked out that, you know, everyone has their own style.
Yeah.
So, and you can't have that cookie cutter model dealing with personalities.
No.
Because I think at the core, people want to know that they're contributing to something.
100%.
Yeah, to a greater good.
100%.
And if they don't see that clarity,
Yeah.
I don't see that. That's when the system buckles.
And
Yeah.
that's where, I don't know if you're the same, but that's why I'm like with my team. When I know that they care, even if they make mistakes, I can't even get upset.
Oh,
Because they're not doing
Yeah.
it intentional.
100%. It's
Do you
just
know
an
what I mean?
accident.
It's an accident.
Yeah,
We were speaking about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
As whereas before, if we made a mistake, or if we, you know, we couldn't even go to funerals. We couldn't even go have it was just very cut and dry.
Yeah.
It was either this way or nowhere. There was
Yeah.
no in between.
Yeah.
Do you know? Whereas you're not bending over backwards, but you want to be human at the
Yeah,
same time.
you want to be fair and
Wanna be fair.
understanding, but it has to be a two-way street with
Correct.
the staff as well. It's not like you just give everything to keep them happy.
Exactly.
Which, like,
Sometimes you have to say no.
Yeah, you have to
Especially
say
if you're
no.
putting, I always say, if my empathy exceeds the best interests of the business,
Yeah.
because you can be empathetic,
Oh, yeah.
but then it's also, if you're too empathetic, which
Yeah.
I can see that, and when you care about someone, you
Yeah.
just generally want to help, but you
Yeah.
also have to be like, you know, at some point, you have to rein it in as well, and
Yeah.
be like, this is not going to work for the business, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, be able to differentiate.
So when you've had, and we all have those bad days, but when
Yeah.
you have those days in your salon that
Yeah.
you like to see the end of,
Yeah.
do your team know? Do they pick up on it, or what do you like in,
You
in
cover
front
it?
of
I
people?
feel like I cover it. Like, I don't
Yeah.
talk to them about all my stuff.
Yeah, you don't go
Is
in
that
there and say-
important? Like, if it's even if it's
I feel-
business stress, is it important for you to keep that?
100%,
Yeah.
because like you're the leader of the business. Like you
Yes.
don't want to be
I
going
agree.
into the salon going,
Dumping
oh, we've
it.
had 5 cancels this week and like we haven't made this much money and you need to sell this and you like that's going to put your staff
Stuff
on
off.
edge. Like you
Yeah.
need to come in and you need to go, look, we've had 5 cancellations. Let's create some content this week.
What can we do? Yeah,
what can we do to
Yeah.
like attract new clients, to attract more clients? You want to like uplift them because they're probably also feeling
Yeah, if you add fear to
bad
it.
that you've had.
We
that
might
they're
be
not-
looking on Seek for a job.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
gonna
you
be
know,
out of a
like
job in a
you
minute.
can't
Yeah.
like let your own business stresses or however you want to look
I think
at
we
it
said that
affect
on
your staff.
we did say that on another podcast.
It's not fair on them either to put that on them because they're there for a job to do a job.
Exactly.
They're not there to hear like your bullshit that's like bothering
So
you.
true.
Do you freak out about that when when
I
clients
have
have
in the
cancelled all
past,
the?
but now I don't really like let it affect me
No,
because
right.
it's like,
no.
oh well, more.
You
are
just
coming.
get busy and busy breeds
Yeah,
busy.
exactly.
You just get content, do your
Yeah.
thing, and clients will come.
And you know, as
peaks and valleys.
100%. And as the business owner, you've always got like little bits and pieces that
Little
you can do
pockets.
anyway. So if you get a cancellation, you can fill that with something else.
And how good is it now? You're not like, go clean the skirting board.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Go do each other's hair,
Yeah.
go do content, go look for
Yeah.
models. There's so many
Yeah.
opportunities that you can create.
Yeah, but I learned from my coach like what sort of mindset to have when that happens. Like when I get someone cancelled,
It's true.
like
As
I
well as a
think,
lot of people panic.
oh, I'm so grateful because now I'm going to get 10 more clients.
Oh, I like that.
So then you start like
Love that.
to, rather than
That's right.
being
You double
stressed
down.
about a cancellation, going, oh my god, this is stressing me out. You flip it into a positive and you go, actually, 10 more clients are coming, so I'm actually
Opportunity.
grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, you
And I
see
just
'em.
wonder
Yeah.
how many salon owners do get into that hyperventilated state where they're
I
like,
think a lot.
I think it's
we've had cancellations. It's
Yeah.
that equates to this amount of dollars, you know,
Yeah.
and it does put that
But
stress,
I
and
think-
it just screws the day.
I think this is what's really good about what we're sharing. If you do want to be a salon owner, you have to take it seriously.
Yeah,
And you know, these are the muscle flex things that you have to do.
Yeah.
We'll just wait. Is that Vlad? You can hear everything. Tell me, because do you want to just open the door and tell him we're recording?
How funny.
I know.
He's forgotten.
They'll be like, Vlad, shut up. And they're gone. What were we saying?
We're talking about
This is what happens.
like business owners getting stressed about
Yeah.
like cancellations
Yeah.
or like reschedules.
What were we saying in, what was that last part?
That's okay.
You were saying like,
I
what
felt like I
was
had
it?
something good to say.
It was
All three of us were like,
I don't,
goldfish.
yeah.
goldfish. That's what I was trying to say last time when I said 3 seconds. Goldfish.
Goldfish.
Can I just share? This has actually come up in the last few weeks with a couple of stockers, and I would really like your take on it. Again, it's going a little bit off script, but what happens when you're trying to give a team member an opportunity,
Yeah.
and this team member has, you know, come from another salon, you know, a couple of toxic salons,
Yeah.
have had bad experience,
Yeah.
and then you're trying to give them an opportunity, but they're so hurt and betrayed and
Yeah.
scared from other experiences now that they're putting that on this experience, and
Yeah.
they're so fearful
Yeah.
of creating that they're actually stopping themselves
Yeah.
from growing. How would you handle that?
I would like sit down and have a conversation with them, and I would let them know that like, I would just say like, you know, you're coming from a past experience that was like hard for you, and like let them know that you're understanding because you want them to feel safe with you and to know that like
That's
you're
not
not
who you
gonna
are.
like reject them or kick them out or be like, don't be like that. You know, you want them to feel secure and know that you are an understanding person, but you also want them to know that like that's your past, that's what's happened in the past, and this is like now, and I'm not that person that you worked for. I'm here to create opportunity for you. I'm here to support you.
And it's also kind of like a relationship. If you've had a
Yeah.
bad relationship, I think the mindset part that you're talking about, if they're going to carry that over, or anything that can happen from
Yeah.
childhood,
Yeah.
you carry that over.
Yeah.
And if you haven't worked on the underlying, you know, whatever issues to get past it, you're going to keep carrying that over.
Yeah.
And then one day you're going to come across someone who actually wants to give you a good relationship or friendship or opportunity
100%.
or, do you
Good
know, so
intentions.
good
Because
intentions.
that person at the end of the day attracted that situation in their lives. So
Without
they need-
realising.
Right.
That was
Yeah,
their karmic
unconsciously,
lesson.
obviously.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it probably came from like something deeper than just the situation.
It
With
was,
the
it was
boss,
there to
you know?
teach them. It was
Yeah,
there to
yeah.
teach
It was a
them something.
learning curve for them to see something within themselves, and I think like if the person can like take responsibility for like choices they make in their life of like,
That's a good perspective.
or like say like you were in a toxic situation with a boss and you didn't like it. It's like
What did
sometimes
I
some
do to try and make it better?
self-reflection helps them to grow as well, because like it's not always the other person. It was like maybe the way they were perceiving that person as well. It might like,
Because then it's also,
half
is it
the
a
time
toxic or is it just not the case for you?
Yeah. Is it your perception of the situation
For
that
sure.
has then caused you to react like that, or is that person just a what
Dickhead?
word could we
Yeah, you
use?
can use that. Say it.
Just a cunt.
Said it.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's true,
There's
because
cunts
sometimes
everywhere.
yeah, and it's like a learning
Narcissist.
curve for the staff member as well.
Yeah.
Like, and as the new boss, like I think the best way to approach it, which would be personalised to anyone, it's like there's not one way to handle it, but I think to handle it in a way that's going to nurture that staff member is to let them know that you understand, but also
To not let them define.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
it, like, let the experience, I always say, don't let it define you, let it drive you.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it did with you.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and learn for the next one what the red flags are.
yeah, definitely.
You know, because don't create them
Yeah.
without seeing them firsthand because
Yeah.
you're so blocked because of what's happened.
But if they keep going back into that way of being, like if the staff member keeps going back
Reverting
to
back. It's hard.
to that, it's
They're not gonna
like
be able to-
it's going to be challenging as the business owner to work with them moving forwards, and that might be the point where you go, maybe they're not for me. And
So
let
speaking
them
of
go.
nurturing staff,
yeah,
you've mentioned you have a coach.
yeah.
Are you that for your team?
Yeah, I try and coach them. I do my best, like when they're like open to it. Like, I mean, I'm not saying they're not open to it, but like, you know, if I don't like walk in there and say like, oh, I'm your coach.
You
and
look
this is
like
what
And what
you have
happened
do.
to you when you were 7
Yeah,
years
you know,
old?
it might be like if I see that they're doing something that they need help with, like I'll always let them know and offer the support to teach them better, you know, and coach them in that way, because I feel like sometimes like if you're like approaching someone and saying like, I'm going to coach you, like if they haven't asked to be
intimidating, of
coached,
course.
they might feel a bit like, oh, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you just naturally go into that sort of coacher leader role,
The
like
subtle
I've
way.
found for me that's
works.
worked better, because I have actually tried the other way
Yeah.
of kind of like sitting down and being like this, and this, and it's
It's too
probably
per-
it
it
hasn't
almost
really
gets
probably
too-
worked as
Yeah.
well for me,
Right.
because
I
you know
agree, me too.
sometimes there might be things going on with them that you realise
That
are
you just
actually
don't wanna
deeper
know.
than a work
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they're not asking me to actually help them change that about themselves, so it's not really my role to
go that
coach
deep,
them
for
how
sure.
to change that in them. But what I can offer them is to coach them in their profession, in their hairdressing
Right.
industry, and help them with what they need help with, like,
And
'cause
like,
it's going to benefit the business too.
of
sure.
course, it
Yeah.
benefits both of you.
Yeah.
But it's also if they are having an emotional, if something's going on that's deeper,
Yeah.
you have to be able to touch on it because it does spill over a
Yeah,
little bit. But it's
yeah.
also getting them back on track, like you
Yeah.
say. Make it about the future goals.
Yeah,
Make it about the
100%.
business goals, or you know, it kind of eliminates that 10% of what's not going right in their life and giving
Yeah.
them a 90%, you know, scope of what can go right.
100%.
You know, so
yeah.
I get you with that.
Yeah.
Because as hair, particularly in hair, probably less in beauty, but my perspective is you are all therapists.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Like, and I know we love our relationships with our hairdressers,
yeah.
but it's a kind of a therapy session. And so I know from when I came in from a different perspective and would observe and listen to conversations in the salon, I'm like, these people aren't equipped to be having some of the shit that was spread, like that was talked about
Yeah.
between the client and hairdresser
Yeah.
was pretty full on.
Yeah.
And it always struck me as odd that why don't they create a couple of modules on how
Yeah,
to
yeah.
manage those conversations?
think
Because
it would be
my
good for
experience
it.
is I feel like a lot of hairdressers don't know how, because of whatever they've got going on in their life, or they're just not equipped to handle the heavyweight conversation.
Yeah.
I guess this is my roundabout way of, do you coach your team on how to handle those conversations, irrespective of what they've got going on? Because we don't know.
I find that they're pretty good at handling them. To
Yeah.
be honest, like,
You just don't have that energy in the salon.
we don't get a lot
Yeah,
of people.
same.
I mean, sometimes we get people like open up about heavy things,
Of
but
course,
it's
yeah.
not.
You just veer
It's
it
not
back
to the degree where
yeah.
it's like, oh my god, that's not something I can handle. And like, Chelsea and Paige are both good at that. Like Chelsea's
But
been.
is that because of you? because
I think because me and
mentored
Chelsea
them?
work so closely together for like
You just created this
5 or
culture.
6 years, and she's my sister. I mean,
Yeah.
I am 11 years older than her,
Oh, wow.
so like I've, you know, like I'm a bit older, so like I've guided her a bit
You
over the
molded
years.
her as well, yeah, helped
Yeah,
mold her.
but she's also like got.
Has she done the work that you've done, like personally?
No, she
No?
hasn't stepped into
Oh,
that.
wow. But
But
she's seen the change in you?
Yeah, I think she's seen the change in me. I mean, she doesn't vocally say like, "Oh my god, I've seen the change in you." No,
She's not gonna
she's
say
not
that to
like
your
that.
brother.
Like
Because
she's
I think
probably
you've always been, like, even from back then, you've always been
Yeah.
the sweet, happy, funny, whatever
Yeah.
you're going
I'm just
internally,
probably-
you
yeah.
never even put that on other people.
No,
so
100%
You
no.
probably dealt with that on your own.
Yeah, I deal with it on my own because
can
it's
see
not
that.
like for her to have to deal with.
Yeah,
but
because you were
she's
never
good with-
projecting your shit onto anyone.
No.
Yeah.
Nah, she's good at dealing with clients when they talk about stuff, though. I think, like, some people are naturally good at it. Some people aren't good at it. But if I did have someone that wasn't good at it, I would talk to them about it and say, hey, like, are you okay after what that client said to you? Like, it let me help you how to approach it next time if they didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, maybe is it okay as a hairdresser if it is a client that you don't know to say, like, is it okay to go into someone's space and start dumping on them? That's something that I have thought as well.
But it happens.
But
though,
yeah, it
doesn't
happens though.
I've
never really been that
person.
person, so for
Yeah.
me it's like a bit interesting because I'm always
If-
cautious of what I put
But
on
I bet
other
your
people.
clients open up to you.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
But
And
you're
they-
equipped to handle it though, and
Do you
Yeah,
know how
and-
I handle it? I mean, it hasn't happened a lot. I'm like, oh my God, you need to go see T.
yeah.
That's what I say. Here are the people
Yeah.
that you need to speak to, and because it never really goes that deep, but now we've got people in our circle
Yeah,
that, you know, can help.
Yeah, if I've got people that are having like full on heavy emotional things, like I'll recommend
Recommend
them
someone that
to
can
my
help them.
healers up at
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Elysian Sanctuary
Speaking
because
of,
they heal. They do like all the emotional help, holistic therapy.
Yeah.
So I'll
and it's
recommend
dangerous
them to
territory,
someone.
isn't it?
Yeah,
We're
You're
not
not
equipped
equipped.
for it.
100%. Recommend them to someone that you know that can help them if they want the help, though. That's the thing. They
Yes.
have to want the help. You can't, like, if they're not wanting help, like, what's the point in recommending them? You
Some
know?
people
Or you
like
could
being on
say,
the
like, are you
record, don't
wanting
they?
help with this, or
Yeah.
are you just wanting to offload? Or, I mean, I actually wouldn't say that to someone.
Yeah.
But, like, what's the deal with what's going on here? Like,
call my people.
yeah.
But some people like being on I call it the record, like they just love being in that spin of,
Yeah.
They're spiraling.
it's just the story. They
a
like being
story.
in that state.
Yeah,
I mean, we're going to talk about where you go with this, but
Yeah.
I did many years ago something called Landmark. So,
Okay.
and it's all around mindset,
Yeah.
education, and it was full on because it starts with you.
Yeah.
Like if you want to educate or you want to be,
You want to be somewhere, you're going to start with yourself.
you've got to start with yourself,
Yeah.
which is the most confronting because I would just share this. When I did Landmark, I sat there in the room for the first 2 days going, there's nothing
need
fucking
this.
wrong with me.
Yeah.
All these people,
Always.
I felt sorry for everyone
Yeah,
else.
yeah. Oh.
That was my greatest flaw.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Because I'm not sharing. I had a normal childhood. The worst thing that happened is my parents weren't together.
You had
Like,
to polish silver.
I had to polish
That
that.
was that was as bad as he got, right?
But it's like I'm listening to these people in the room going, there is some fucked up
Deep-seated.
shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how did some of these humans
Survive.
become parents?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And allow this shit to happen to their
Yeah.
kids. My greatest flaw was sitting there not sharing
Yeah.
because I didn't want to deal with my own shit.
Yeah,
And it
100%.
wasn't until it dropped in on day 3, I'm like, oh, I get this. I'm
Yeah.
more screwed up than all.
Yeah. I'm not that far off.
I need
Yeah.
to stay and do another
It actually
day.
helps heaps when you share. Like I used to be like
I
that
didn't
too.
realise
like, I never
it.
wanted to share. I never wanted to talk about anything that had happened in my life.
Did you
or-
find it a form of weakness?
I think I was just
thought
like
it was
trying
like
to portray a perfect image.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I was trying to be a perfectionist and like be like, oh no, I'm okay, because
That's
like
so
I'd always
true.
put everyone ahead of
Yeah,
me.
because you're not
So
like a
it's
broken
well,
mess, like a broken. You're
That
not
was
like
me.
crying
Yeah.
emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you get down to the bottom of it, you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I am storing some stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you put
Yeah.
yourself on the back burner
Yeah.
sometimes because you don't want to. Even
No.
sometimes maybe you don't even want to go there with the things.
No,
and when you
that's
like,
what
say
it
something
is.
out loud, it makes it more real.
Real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah,
For sure.
And let's talk about, because these programs are equipped with you have to own your shit and talk
Yeah.
about it and share.
Yeah.
And so let's get into it. So rumor has it that you're a student of Napoleon Hill. And
Yeah.
I know Yo knows more about this than me.
Yeah.
I don't know. So this is why I wanted to ask you, what is Napoleon Hill Institute for people that have never heard of it?
Okay, so the Napoleon Hill Institute, it's like an American company, and they specialize in like the mindset, which is all the teachings of Napoleon Hill, who was like a pioneer of the personal
movement.
development industry back in the like early 1900s. So the way I got into it was like my friend Nicole Whitty, she was like, she knew that I wanted to, is it okay for me to talk about me getting into
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
And then
yeah.
about it? 'Cause
Yeah.
it just flows
Go
very
for
freely
it.
that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, she knew that I wanted to be able to help people more on a deeper level, you know, because, you know, like hairdresser, therapist, whatever, like you need tools.
Same.
So yeah, she rings me and she's like, oh my God, like you should join this program, like it would be really good for you. And I was like, oh, okay. And in the moment, of course, the fear thing came
You're like,
up.
hell no.
I was like, oh my God, like,
What
what
did I
is
just
this?
say
Like,
yes
how
to?
much is this going to cost me? Like, do I have the time
All
for it?
walls
Yeah,
come
all the limiting
barrier
beliefs come up as to can I do it? But I was like, no. Like,
Did you recognise it then though, or wasn't until now you've done
I
the
knew
training?
that was
and
coming
gone,
up
okay,
because
yeah.
I'd been, you know, working on myself for like 5 or 6 years prior, you know. It was
Yeah.
just
But when you say you're working, were you like reading self-help? Like,
yes,
were they more
personal
like
development,
personal development,
working
like,
with like my energy healers,
yeah.
going to
Oh, so
like
you had tapped into that before
yeah,
you did
like
Napoleon
yeah,
Hill.
like 5 or
So
6
you
years
understood,
ago.
you started to understand energy in a different form, right?
Yeah, because I'd learned from great people that were able to help me with things. So I started to be more aware of myself. So of course, in the
You're
moment,
like peeling back
Yeah,
the
the blockers
layers.
are
yeah,
there.
I knew the blockers were
Yeah.
there, but I knew that it was the opportunity to like catapult me to the next step. So I was like, well, obviously I'm going to
ready.
say yes, and because I trust Nicole and I love Nicole,
Yeah.
and she's like saying this would be great for me. I was like, okay, yes, of course, I'll do it. And like, I had no idea what it was about back then, but then like,
You
know,
said yes.
yeah, I said yes because I'd been asking
Say
for
yes and
ways
figure
to
it
grow,
out after.
you know, like
Yeah.
how to learn, how to grow my business, how to change certain things about myself. So I knew that was the answer to the next step. So then like I started delving into it and doing the programs, and I signed up to do the certified coaching program, which I would say is like lots of in-depth information about the mindset because it works with, hang on, how do I describe it? It's so much. It's like,
You've got me hanging off the edge of my
yeah,
seat
it's
here.
like, I would say like the way they teach it, a lot of their teachings are based on his book Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, okay.
Which is based on like the way you
Oh, I've
think
read
to
that.
create what you want.
Yeah.
And with that book, I feel like it gives you almost like a step-by-step procedure almost as to how to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like
So-
getting to your beliefs, your
Yeah,
core beliefs, your
yeah.
values, where they stem from,
Yeah.
how to recognize it, and then
Yes.
how to shift and change
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah. So as you're like delving into the material, like you might have things coming up for you, but there's a group of coaches that work for the
you work
institute that
through
then
it.
help you through it. So they, you know, you're constantly getting mentorship from them. You're also like studying yourself while you're doing it, and they offer like all different programs.
Right.
Can I
So-
say, because I'm a big believer, you have to have, like, in order to have a breakthrough, you have to have a bit of a breakdown.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Did you have a breakdown at any point during the process?
I mean, in the beginning, I was very like all
Let me
full
just reach
steam
the
ahead,
mountain.
full steam ahead,
Yeah.
doing it all. But then I realized like I could sort of like take a step back and do it in a way that more worked for me as well, because it is like in American time, like the calls like might not be at times that always like suited me. So I was like, okay, well I can catch up on that call.
You said it was
I-
like 5 a.m. I'm like,
yeah,
that would
yeah,
suit me
yeah,
just
yeah,
fine.
yeah. It was like 5, and then they
Yeah.
had like the study calls. Some of them were like 11 or 1 at night or 1 in the morning. So I was like,
Wow.
well, being in Australia, like it's all recorded, so you can catch up on it all
Right.
anyway, you know.
So you come
But-
together as a group.
Yeah,
online.
yeah. So-
But you
yeah.
watch the recordings at your own
Yeah,
pace.
if you miss
Yeah.
something, like you can watch it as you go. So
Yeah.
like it is good being on the live business calls though, because you've got all the other students there that are also learning, and they have like guest speakers coming in, like these world renowned coaches. It was like Oh my
Interesting.
God, like these people that have made like, you know, multi-millionaires that have like
there's a formula.
coached,
Here's what.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're giving you the formula to learn
For
how to
sure.
do it, you know. And you know what they teach is like implement this into your life. They teach you like how to create the goals, what is your purpose, and then they give you like, it feels like for me like a step-by-step way of doing that.
Yeah.
And I found for me doing that, and then when I had like my challenges or limiting beliefs come up, like I worked with my coach to then
How to break through.
help me break through that as
Yeah.
well, you
Wow.
know. So I found like combining the two together of working with someone that could help me while I'm studying and while I'm learning really
So
catapulted
it's interesting.
it all.
So
Yeah.
you were doing your energy work, which what's that place? Is it Elysium where you're going?
Sanctuary.
Because you were doing that,
Yeah.
but then this connected your mind
Yeah.
to your heart, like it was connecting
Yeah.
that missing, like
Yeah,
exactly what
everything
happened in
was-
Bali. Remember, we're there for business.
Yeah.
They kept saying no, like business part of if you don't work on yourself, your business will not work.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
So
was
they
like,
can,
"Damn it."
yeah, they teach you how to be a coach, like how to coach people as well, or they teach, or you
So
can
then
just
you can help other people.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can do like a mentorship program, whereas like you're just being a student with them, and they have teachers that teach you stuff, or they have like a self-confidence camp, which was
Wow.
really good because like some of the students, or even including myself, like that we're doing the coaching program, it's like, what else can we do to help the students to build their confidence in actually being able to do this? So then they've got like the self-confidence one, because as you're going into this work, it's like these beliefs come up, so they like teach you how to like release things, how to let go, how to work through where everything stemmed from, and how it's all connected.
Can I
Yeah.
ask you, what's the biggest thing that changed in your life after you adapted? Because you already sound like you were already, like your frequency was already raised.
Yeah.
What changed from doing what you were doing to implementing because how long was the course? How was it, a year?
Yeah, it goes for like 9 months to a year.
The
but-
baseline.
Yeah, the
The
baseline.
entry level that everyone needs
Yeah,
to do.
yeah. If you do the certified coaching program, it's like 9 months to a year.
Mm-hmm.
But because I've got that, like I've got access to it forever.
Forever, you can
Yeah, you
watch
can
it.
always do it, always catch up on it, always reconnect.
For sure, go
with
back.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think was the biggest thing that helped you or
For
changed?
me,
that
it was
changed?
like it made me like more focused on my business goals, because I was like, well, if I'm going to learn this and I'm going to teach this to someone else, I need to know that it works. I was like, I need to know it works, because like I'm not just going to walk out there into the world and start saying,
Spruiking this.
do this, do this, do this, when like
Like a
I
marketing
don't. For me,
tactic.
it's been very
Yeah.
important to like to know that it's helped my life. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm doing this, I'm implementing everything in my life, and I want to see the results. And then I know that when I teach it to someone else, that if they actually commit to it and dedicate themselves, then they
They'll
will
do
get
it.
results too.
And-
Because you would know. You know if they're doing it or if they're not doing
they're
it,
putting
because
in the
they will
work.
get results.
Yeah,
Because
right.
you know from personal experience that it works.
They just can't bullshit.
So you can't have
You
people
can't
bullshitting
bullshit.
when you
It's
know
like a
it works.
diet.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I'm doing it.
It's
diet
like,
doesn't work.
it's
Are you
like when you're
sure?
like eating cake
Yeah.
all day, where you go into your trainer saying it's not
No,
working.
it's
It's
not
like, well, I'm giving you all the tools.
I
what
saw
do
you
do?
eat it. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
And I know we've spoken
Wow.
offline because you're like, I'm really passionate. And I know
Yeah.
we're both passionate.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that the industry needs. And you've always
100%.
been quite vocal. This is something you want to do for our industry. Have you
100%.
done any work with, have you done any coaching with?
I've coached clients before.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had a few clients that I've coached with and like gotten really good results
results.
with. I actually coached one of my like hairdressing clients, and she had this limiting belief that she couldn't read, and it was like, I'm thinking
Would be
in my
really
head,
common.
I was
I'd say.
thinking, to
I know
be
someone
honest,
that's
I
had
was
that.
like, how am I going to help her with that?
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, no, I know what I can do, because
Yeah.
you can implement it in any area. Like you can use it for like business, you can use it for if you want a job, if you've got emotional stuff. So I was like, okay, I know what to do. So I gave her like all the tools. I was like, I told her what to do. I was like, do this, 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 and this. Because obviously you've got a limiting belief. Like I started talking to her, asking her what had happened, and you know, she'd been told that she
Of
couldn't
course.
read and
I
she'd
was
been
just gonna
punished
say,
and
yeah.
told off
It just
since
comes
she
from
was
whether
young.
it's a parent or whether it's a teacher or someone.
And I was
Yeah.
like, well, you know, we can change this, you know, because that was so ingrained into her subconscious that she'd formed a belief, because that's what happens. We form beliefs.
And it
And
gets
then we
stored in your
carry it through our whole
subconscious.
life, and
Yeah.
then we believe that about
And then
ourselves.
it comes up.
And how old,
Yeah.
out of interest, how old do you think she was when she was told she couldn't read?
Probably around about 5.
Yeah, yeah.
And she was
And
like
how old was she when she got
59.
She was 59.
Yeah.
So she'd been carrying that
Wow.
for more than 50 years.
And now she can read.
That is
She can
crazy.
read. She came to me a
I
week
feel
later
really
and she goes, I've been
heavy.
reading novels.
50 years of carrying around
That's
a belief.
insane.
Yeah.
I'm in, without divulging, I'm genuinely intrigued, right?
Yeah.
I guess being 50, it's like, fuck, it's a long time to
Hang
carry.
Yeah.
on. Should we say it on?
No, yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
that's what,
yeah.
oh, sorry.
How did she cover something like that up? It was like deeply ingrained. You've obviously gone and forged ahead with a career with this notion that I can't read.
Yeah, well, I guess there was always an underlying, like,
She'll just cover
lack
up.
of confidence
Yeah,
as well,
right.
or, like, not
And
believing.
just got by with it.
Yeah, but she functioned in life normally.
Yeah,
like she
sure.
would just.
But it was a
like-
deep- it's
she
one of those
probably never
things-
got herself in a situation where she needed to read.
And
Yeah.
if she
needed
did,
to-
she'd get out of it.
Yeah, because
you
she would.
deflect.
Yeah,
And
she
my
would-
take on it's one of those things that you just wouldn't talk about unless
Yeah,
you were
exactly.
put in a position
Well, I never
to...
knew. Like, I've known her
Yeah.
for heaps long, and like, I didn't know that she couldn't read.
And I guess this also, because I've had situations where, you know, it's been interaction, whether it's friends or whether it's a staff member, you know, when you, because our big thing is like being accountable
Yeah.
for what you do. Just own up to it. And have you
Yeah.
noticed where a lot of people deflect?
Yeah.
And they get, and you can see even when I'm speaking to her, I mean, I don't bring it up in conversation, but now that I've done some work,
Yeah.
whether I know it comes from somewhere where someone berated them
Yeah.
and made them feel stupid,
Yeah.
or made them feel like they didn't know what they're doing. So that's how they get through life,
Yeah.
not taking accountability. They continuously, doesn't matter what it is, you can deliver it to them on a silver platter, but they'll still deflect.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so it's
But
good.
most of this ingraining and these self-limiting beliefs we have,
Come
they
from
come
childhood.
under 10 though, don't they? They're
Yeah,
all,
so it's usually from,
from 0
like
to
0
7.
to 7. That's
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
like the subconscious forms.
Yeah.
So they teach you all about this at the Napoleon Hill Institute.
Yeah.
They go through all like the subconscious, like where it comes from, like in-depth information about it. So then it's like in 0 to 7, we're actually like forming our parents' beliefs.
You're
So
taking
we
it
are
on.
becoming our parents. So whatever they believe
Holy
is then what
shit.
you start believing. So
Well,
then
I'm-
you go in life and you're like, you're wondering why you're being a certain way or why you believe a certain thing. And it's like, it's not even your own belief.
But it's so funny
It's
because
actually your mum's belief
I
about
remember being
something.
older
Yeah.
and thinking, where did I come from? Because I never ever thought like
Yeah.
my parents.
Yeah.
That's why they used to call me the black sheep. Because I remember being young thinking, oh my God, why are they thinking like that?
Yeah.
You know, but
it's kind of like the story about when we talk about beliefs and traditions. I was listening to a podcast the other day and, you know, and he said something so defining about traditions and traditions in our family.
Yeah.
And it come from beliefs.
Yeah.
Of something, of behaviours we've seen from someone that's probably passed. And I don't know if you guys have heard the story about the leg of lamb. And the story, and I'm shit at telling these stories. My husband's so much better. Where the daughter asked her mum, "Why do you cut off the piece,
at the end,
the end of the lamb?" And the response is because your grandmother did it. Well, the truth is, the grandmother did it because it was too big to fit in the oven.
Oh,
But it's like, so it's like,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
that's like a,
Yeah.
it's very relevant, right? So it's like a tradition,
yeah,
a belief
exactly.
that that's what you had to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
There's
no
someone
reason
before
behind
you
that.
saw it.
Yeah.
She had to do it because the oven was too small.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
mum's gone along.
But that's such
Yeah.
a good example though, because it's like, well, that came from the grandmother.
Yeah.
So like sometimes like our belief will be from like what 10 generations
Correct.
down.
and you know,
Until it's like might
the
have
same
shifted
thing.
over
It's the
the
same
years.
thing.
Genetics.
It's the same thing. I feel like the big one. You know, ham is a really good metaphor, but it also happens with money.
Yes,
That's why money
100%.
mindset as well. Like
Yes.
we're big on that. We actually want to
Yeah.
do another podcast about it because it really
Yeah.
is. Like, where does your belief, and especially now,
Yeah.
look at us. We're in a position where we're charging $3,000 to $5,000 for hair extensions, and to this day, that's a big barrier that I'm still working with
Yeah.
because people don't that self worth or that money mindset has come from some belief in their childhood
100%.
or school, or you know, it kind of
Yeah.
escalates.
Yeah, and last year, like when I was doing that work, it helped me shift a lot around the money mindset as well. It was like, well, what are my beliefs around money? And then it sort of goes into like self-worth. What do I believe I am worthy of? What do I believe I could charge for my service?
Exactly.
You know, so it
because
goes...
everyone's throwing that word around, charge your self-worth, but
Yeah.
what does that actually
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. And where
I
does
feel
it
like
come
that's a dangerous comment because some people don't
So
have
dangerous.
a high value
Yeah.
of their self.
Exactly.
So it's like that kind they
Or they
spiral
do,
with that.
or they
Yeah.
do, but it's overinflated just by social media followers and
Yeah.
liking. Like
Yeah.
the validation has been
Yeah.
skewered. It's not by the actual work that you've done or created, or understand where the value actually comes from.
Yeah.
Do you feel most people have a mindset with money, whether it be good,
Yeah.
bad, or indifferent?
Yeah, definitely. You can notice it in people when they talk about money with the language they use.
Right.
If they're always using the word like expensive.
Oh, expensive brunette.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, that I think like that's a good
endearing.
As in
marketing
like
way.
brands
Like,
where
babe,
they
no,
go,
if a
look at my
client
Gucci,
is going,
look at my Gucci.
yeah,
or,
yeah, or
posting
if they are
photos.
thinking something is always expensive.
Or what about-
It's like, oh, well, so they're kind of like putting themselves far away from that. It's like, oh no, that's too expensive. When you hear someone say that, it's like, oh, so you're disconnecting yourself from saying. Because I started changing the word expensive. I said, oh, that's of a high value.
Yeah.
So then I'm like putting it like closer to me. I'm like, oh yeah, that's
It's
of
a
high
value.
value. I can afford that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Or I can have that.
It's true.
You
And I
change
always
the
say,
way you look at
I
it.
always
Yeah.
say
Like,
to
you
Kirsten and our community, and you can see the barrier in their head when it comes to paying for the course, charging
Yeah.
what we charge. You can just so see, and I always say, and they're asking me, can I get a discount? Can I? And I'm like, no, what you guys have to understand, I could give you guys discount because I don't put a value on the training. It's just part of the process.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a high paying client,
Yeah.
or if you want high paying clients, you need to be a high paying client yourself.
100%. And
It
you
all
obviously
starts
value
with-
yourself as well.
to be
Like,
able to do
why
it
would you
now, but I had
devalue
to work-
yourself to
But I
give
had to
someone
work-
what they want.
Exactly, because we were always coming from the artist mindset.
Yeah.
You know, which I see it still happen a lot. I'm doing it because I love the art.
Yeah.
And even Kirsten was like, at some point, your art is going to make you go broke.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if you don't connect. And it's so true
100%.
because
Yeah.
once you connect the business and the art and the mindset, you become more powerful
Yeah.
and you understand where that value is coming from. And I also
100%.
want to ask you, because I've been in social circles or other position where, you know, where you have that overinflated ego or someone's continuously telling you how, you know, everything is credited to how much money they're making or value, or not even value.
material
help
possessions?
help me explain, because we know
As in
we
like
have
material possessions.
possessions where every comment is like that,
It's
almost.
about an item,
An
or
item. I think
they're
experience,
just
or a
self-absorbed,
food,
aren't
or
they?
But do you think it come? I think does it come from a deep-seated insecurity where they need that
I think they
validation?
use things to like make themselves feel better
Yeah.
or make themselves look better.
Yeah, 'cause
it's
that's
like,
how I
oh,
see
well, I'm
it.
gonna look so good because I've got this.
But it's not.
Yeah.
You just want to be like, shut
yeah,
up.
it's
no
like
one
filling
cares.
a void. It's
Yeah.
filling
It
a void
really-
in
100%,
themselves.
that's what I
feel
say.
like they use it to overcompensate, or they think they have to have that to look good
Or
be
status
good.
or materialism.
But it's
or-
like, what about you? Like, who are you as a person?
Yeah.
Like, are you that
Because
poor?
can I
You're
just
not
say-
a Porsche. Like, who are
Yeah,
you?
you're not
Yeah,
a
you
Gucci.
drive
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are you?
Yeah.
Because if someone's in
Yeah.
need, what if I always say that?
Who are
What
you
have
at
they
the
done to
core?
actually help someone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't hear.
exactly.
I don't hear any of that, but I hear about your status and your money, and it's like great. I get it. It might
Yeah.
float someone's boat, but you know when you see like young girls, even now, if I see young girls on Instagram or whatever, just with their Louis and it's so
Gross.
boring.
It's
Yeah.
it.
It's so like there's nothing behind it where they're making an impact, but it's gone a bit skewed. I feel like now it's a little bit better because everyone's, you know, doing a little bit more authentic.
I love seeing though those truly, like I follow so many of them, the truly successful entrepreneurs
Oh, yeah.
that make a ton of money,
Yeah.
genuinely make a ton of money. One thing they have in common, they clearly all have coaches,
Yeah.
like mindset coaches.
Yeah.
They clearly deal with the money thing.
Yeah.
Because I've worked for some uber wealthy people, and
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough, and they don't post it. It's just they are very grounded,
Yeah.
and a lot of the time. Let's just talk about Kerwin Ray for a minute. Like he's very
And his
successful.
people.
Like
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah.
one of them, right? He stands up on stage in a t-shirt and a pair of jeans.
Yeah.
You're not seeing Gucci
And
or
his
you're
big-
not seeing the brands. He's not
Yeah.
wearing his
His
wealth.
accounting guy had a little backpack on.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
walking with him?
Yeah, that's
They're
right.
Like
more
sneakers, but-
sincere as
But
well.
I find
So
something really
sincere.
sexy about that though,
Yeah.
because it's like they're so comfortable, and I always wonder what mindset work do they push through to get to that point where they're really comfortable with their wealth, that they don't have to go, look at my handbag, look where I'm eating in expensive
Because that
restaurants.
attracts the wrong people as well.
100%.
I don't know. You might be able to shed some light on that. That
I
might
think
be.
they've just worked on themselves so much that
And they're
they
doing
really
it for the right reason.
give a fuck about what they have to show.
They don't
They're
have
content within themselves. They're happy. They're not there to
They've got a more higher
flash their
mission.
money or flash this. You know, they're actually a truly sincere,
But here's
down to earth person.
Here's another thing.
They genuinely want to help. You know, they're not in it just to
For the
make
wrong
money.
reason.
They're in it
Correct,
to
for the right
genuinely
reason. Help someone.
people
And that's
get
exactly
better.
what he was saying. And on that note as well, I feel like, you know, you hear it all the time. If someone wins the lottery or they get, you know, inheritance, they can have all this money. But if you're a shitty person, guess what money does? It amplifies that you're a shitty person, right? And also, I can't remember if I've shared this on a podcast, but it's so true. That's why we're very selective and we have a whole vetting process of who we take on, because you see, extension brands always talking about money, you're making money. But, you know, even Kerwin Ray said this, and I love this because it's so true. If you're just chasing the dollar and you're just chasing money, you're actually 8 times more susceptible to doing things that are unethical or immoral.
Yeah, 100%.
So true. And he went silent and thought, I'm sure he was saying, just like that land. Everyone.
It's true, because people will take this job, and I've seen it. I've lost really, really good staff because they've taken this job because it pays more. But down the track, you hear they're not always going to be happier.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And it's especially now with what's going on, people are always chasing that. But you always have to remember, like, what it is that, you know, how's that going to impact someone? Because I feel like if you do it the right way with right intentions and you understand your money mindset, you can start to build your wealth creation
It starts to
in the
naturally
right way.
happen.
Yeah.
You know, like
Without
you
being
can have
contrived.
like money goals and things like that, but when you start
not
becoming
the
like
goal.
obsessive with it, it's like, what are you giving to receive that?
Yeah,
exactly.
Because it's all about give and take.
Yeah. And
Like
if you
you've
don't,
got to put out there.
you've
to
got to
receive.
get absolutely.
Do you wanna just
'Cause
touch
it's an energy source.
Well,
isn't
that's
it?
what I was just going to say.
And
Do you
the-
want to just...
hang on, I
you go.
want to finish this by saying I was involved in network marketing as a side hustle. I actually was taking a product, and I genuinely loved the business side of it because they attracted awesome speakers, probably like Napoleon Hill. And I remember this guy, his name's Eric Warray, hugely successful. I think he mentors multiple different network marketing brands, America based. And I remember he said something. I was very fortunate to go to probably a room where I didn't have the status to be there, but I went as a guest. And he said the thing that you need to do in business, whether you're in network marketing, whatever it is get the money thing out of the way. Because what you'll realize when you get there and you earn the money and you still have this shitty mindset, then what?
Exactly.
Because you've now got the money to be destructive.
And
Then
that's
what?
usually what happens.
And I sat there with that going, fuck, that's so true. Like, get it out. He was just like, get it out of the way.
system.
Get out of the way.
Yeah.
Do what you have to do. But because once you hit that, then what? You're just going to be more dangerous.
100%.
That's true. But I just want to touch on, because I hear it a lot where people are like, how do you manifest? And, you know, how, like, I know to me, you have to meet the universe halfway. You just can't be like, oh, I want this and I want that, but you're not doing anything or you're not being intentional with what you're doing. What's your take?
You need to take action, and you need to be very clear on what you want as well. So, like, you can like write out what you want there's so many methods
Different ways.
of doing
What is
it.
your way? Do you do it?
I like to write
Write
it
it
out.
down?
I think
And bullet point or story or whatever
yeah,
it is.
I tend to be
Do a
like
PowerPoint
more of a bullet
presentation?
point. Yeah, like I'll do more of a bullet point, like
Yeah.
write out, say when I was creating Clarity,
Yeah.
I was like, I would envision it in my mind and like picture myself being there and like working there, and I'd picture what the building looked like and everything, and like the furniture, like, you know, to all the
Really?
details. Yeah, and wrote it out. Like,
And it works.
Yeah, it 100% works.
You're
like,
you're looking at me like, come on, Kirsten.
yeah,
it
it
works.
100% works.
Do you know how
But
it
you've
works?
got to like
See,
believe
see
it.
this
so
is me, like going,
Do you know
does it
how?
really
Because
work?
we're such
You've got to
control
believe
freaks.
it though,
You gotta
as
believe
well,
it.
and have faith that it's going to happen. You can't be
And
like,
you've also got to genuinely want it.
Yeah,
You can't really go,
100%.
I'm going to manifest winning
Yeah.
the lottery, because you and like
yeah,
26
and
million
take
of them.
action though.
And take
you know what I
action.
mean?
What do you
Manifest
mean by
action.
that though? So you've got like the vision.
So you've got the vision, you've got like the idea, you've written out what you wanted.
So how do you take action? Like,
So
I
then
want
it's
this.
like, okay, well, what's the step to do? So like, I wanted a salon.
Yeah.
I can't just sit at home and be like, I want a salon. Okay, well, I'm going to start looking online at buildings that are for lease.
Yeah.
Look up buildings, go look at buildings,
Yeah.
go like...
Or put money aside.
Yeah,
like have
save
that-
money
save
for
money.
it to create what you want, you
Yeah.
know, like you need a...
Start putting it out there.
putting it
Put the
out there and
steps out
taking
there.
action towards your goal as well, you know.
Do you feel
really.
like some people get the dream part or
Yeah,
manifesting
they-
and they
yeah.
don't know how to do the do part? Like you're saying,
100%,
you've got to
yeah.
take action.
I think that you
They
know
think
how-
that you can just sit there and picture it in your head and it's going to happen.
Or
Like,
isn't there like rituals that you go on a full moon and you get crystals
Yeah.
outside and you know
Yeah.
there's some people that's like, it's not working.
Yeah,
It's not happening. Damn it! I'm not doing this
You're
again.
going to tell me that's what I need to do.
No. Do you know how our manifestation worked a few times? And this is so weird for me because it's so like it's almost not, it's not embarrassing saying it, but a lot of the time our psychics were telling us things. They were like predicting things that were happening
Yeah.
even before it happened because
Yeah.
it wasn't even in my realm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then from there I was like, oh my God, maybe I can do that.
Yeah.
Do you know?
And
like
then
it was just that one thing. Remember the
Yeah.
one that you like described this room?
So my psychic,
Yeah.
I'm going to plug her, Alice Terry.
Yeah.
Before Yo and Vlad did this extension, she's telling, and I had just come out of a really
Shitty situation.
shitty business situation. She's like, oh, no, you're going to own a salon again. Oh, I'm not going to. She said, you are. It's going to be at the front. And it's this big, beautiful building, white building with these black windows. And she's doing this, round windows. And there's all the office and the training room. And you're going to have microphone. You're going to be on stage.
Crazy.
And
Oh, wow.
I'm like looking at her going, oh, Alice, you are so off
Yeah.
with this. In my head, I didn't say that to her. I'm like, oh, she's
That's
normally
not me.
so good. In my
Yeah.
head, I'm like,
Oh,
she's normally so good.
Yeah.
How has she got
Yeah,
this? So
she drew that out for us.
you didn't even.
Wow.
We didn't even put plans.
You
We
hadn't
had
even
nothing.
had plans.
It kind of
Crazy.
happened to me a little bit before Clarity as well, because I was in a session with Nicole Whitty, who's a psychic as well, and we were in this session of unlimited potentiality, and she was getting visions of the salon, and I was like, oh, like,
Were you manifesting the salon back then though?
I mean, I thought that I would want it, but I didn't feel ready
didn't have
for
a vision.
it. 'cause
But like
that's
you
the
said,
thing,
it's someone
like-
else that can see it for
Yeah.
you when you can't even see
yeah,
it for yourself.
exactly. And it's like back then I didn't feel ready, and I was thinking like that's way far down the track, you know. But then like 2 years later, it happened.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
And
It's
2.5
almost
years later,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
salon's had a
exactly.
baby.
Yeah, I know, because like sometimes you might not feel ready to do something, but
Yeah.
that's another thing with taking the action. So even
Right.
if you don't feel ready for it, just take action anyway, because it's
And
going to work.
do you
out.
feel
Yeah.
like now with salon owners, like even, you know, we've all come together for a reason. Like
Yeah.
Kirsten, you're working with Kirsten.
Yeah,
Now
which is
we've known
amazing.
each other for a long time. You don't use my extensions, but I'm not like, oh, damn you, James. Do you know what I mean? But it's so nice that we can intermix. I feel like it's so
100%.
important when you have that energy and we've all got this support. Like we
Yeah.
all support
Good
each other.
people attract good people.
Attract good
100%.
people.
Yeah.
Like
And
there's no bullshit. There's no expectation.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
completely benevolent, which I find that's when things work. Because if you're going in
100%.
with an expectation of something or someone,
Yeah.
and you have a ulterior motive,
Yeah.
that energy doesn't align.
Oh, no way.
So what would
you
your-
feel like repelled from
You
people
feel
when they're
repelled
like
for it.
that, and
Everything
you don't
happens-
really want to connect with them.
It's so true.
You can feel sincerity when you meet it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What would your parting note be to any salon owners, business owners out there who are struggling at the moment with maybe mindset, especially
Yeah.
with what's going on with everything? Because look at you, you're a
Yeah.
prime example when the world's crashing.
Yeah.
You know, here you are birthing another salon.
Exactly.
Well, you don't hear a lot of it happening. Everyone's kind of like, I'm just going to ride this year out. I'm just going to
Yeah.
ride this year out.
You've got to believe in yourself and believe that you can do it and back yourself.
Yeah, I
and
like
know
that.
that you can
Take
do
a bet
it.
on yourself.
Yeah, take a bet on it because like nothing bad can happen. Like something bad happening is just
It's a
another
lesson.
belief as well.
And if
If
it
you're
does, it's a
believing-
lesson. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lesson. It's like
Find a solution.
who says something's bad anyway? It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just a
That's
lesson.
right. It's
It's
the
just a
parents.
lesson.
They said it was bad. No,
and
I love
enjoy
that.
it. Like
No.
And I
it's
always
gonna
say,
work
what's
out
the
for
worst
you
that
anyway.
can happen?
Everything will work out for you.
Now, I know this is really strange, and I
Yeah.
know I'm married, but I just want to kiss you right now. I'll give you I just want to give you a kiss and a hug.
Oh,
The best energy and the best soul, and I'm so glad that we've connected. And hopefully,
really nice.
hopefully you've been able to change people's perception
I
and
hope
open
so.
up people's mind.
now where do they
100%.
get in contact? So for anyone that's interested in Napoleon Hill,
Yeah,
what do they do?
Well, they can just contact me directly
Okay.
through like my Instagram page, my business page, Clarity by James Henderson, or my personal page, James Kim Henderson, on Instagram or Facebook.
Right.
And yeah, I like connecting with people that way.
Yes.
It feels
okay.
like nice and
Authentic.
Yeah.
authentic,
Yeah.
and just have a chat about it, you know.
Amazing. And will you come maybe one day and speak to us and
Yeah,
our community
100%.
about
Oh,
money
100%,
mindset? I feel like
yeah,
that's another really big
definitely.
one.
I could listen to him for
Yeah,
hours.
Me
I
too.
think.
I can put you on a
100%.
pedestal.
Really? Yeah, well, I would love to be able to like talk to salon owners about changing their limiting beliefs about
Yeah.
things.
Let's do it.
And their
It'll
team as
help
well.
them as well, because
Yeah.
we all
Come
we're
from
not
it. We've
we,
experienced
we're
it.
all here to support each other, really, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Like we've all probably
yeah.
all got similar goals as business owners.
There's no competition.
Yeah, exactly. So why not support one another and help each other through it?
Thank you so much,
Oh, no,
James.
Thank
thank
you,
you for
James.
having me. I've loved
loved having
being
you.
here with you.
Yeah,
That's
it's been
awesome.
great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank